Hello, my name is Tom Palmer and I am a children's author, and I write books about football and history and lots of other things. And I'm going to talk to you and read to you briefly from Offside, which is the third book in my Foul Play football detective series. And although this book is a bit about football, it's about a young African footballer coming over to play football in Europe, or he thinks he's coming to play football in Europe, but that's where the crime is. It's also about fair trade. It's about fair trade in people. It's about fair trade in chocolate, because in the story, Kofi's mother and father are cocoa bean farmers. So it's kind of a story that I had to do a lot of research for. I went to Ghana in Africa, in West Africa, to find out about how young footballers were being treated. But I also wanted to go and find out about how chocolate was made, and whether when we buy chocolate, we're paying the growers properly for the chocolate that they grow, because chocolate grows in pods on trees, which you'll find out when I read this bit. But I did want to do a shout out. I get my ideas from all sorts of places for my stories, and the idea for this book came from a magazine called World Soccer Magazine. And World Soccer is about football all around the world, and I read in here about young footballers who think they're about to go and play in Europe from Africa, and they're actually being cheated by unscrupulous football agents who are just out to make money out of them, and are actually cheating and lying to them and not really paying them fairly or treating them fairly. So that's what this story is about. I'll read you a very short bit, then I'll say a bit more. So, to set the scene, Kofi has just been offered a contract, he thinks, at a Premier League football club by a football agent called Jonathan Shearer. Kofi went to see his father first. He knew he would still be on the farm, and he knew by the smell as he approached that his father was burning off some land to prepare for the next growing season. He walked along the side of the field that was on fire. The ground was hot under his bare feet. He could feel the black ash of incinerated blades of grass, and plants turned to dust as he walked. The heat on his right cheek was intense. And I was lucky enough when I was researching this book to actually go to cocoa bean growing fields and to witness that burning off of the fields. So that really helped when I was writing. So Kofi darted to his left, through the trees that were heavy with cocoa pods, to the farm, to his father. As he walked, he ripped off any diseased pods so the disease would not spread to the rest of the crop. When Kofi told him his news, his father dropped everything and threw his arms around his son. Then he led him back to the village, to their village. Kofi had never seen his father grin so broadly. But even before they were home, news had spread about the district that Kofi Dankwa had been signed by an English Premier League football team. He and his father ran to their two-room home, where his mother was sitting at the main table. As he entered, she leapt up and held him. Kofi was not surprised, she already knew. When the other boys had been signed by football clubs, the news had spread around the district in minutes. There was no greater news than a boy going to play football for a European football team. Kofi was not only going to be rich himself, but now he could support his family for the rest of their lives, and not just his mother and father, his uncles and aunts too, and many others. What is going to happen? Kofi's mother asked. He is coming here, Kofi said. Who? Kofi's mother looked alarmed. Jonathan Shearer, Kofi said, the man from City FC. His mother moved forward, knocking a stool over. And that's a very small bit. And what the story is unfortunately Jonathan Shearer, the football agent, is not a good football agent. He is going to cheat Kofi out of money. When Kofi gets to England, he meets Danny and Charlotte, who are the football detectives, and they help Kofi to deal with the agent who's cheating him out of all the money. And also, Charlotte is very interested in fair trade chocolate, so other things happen with Kofi's mother and father on their farm. Anyway, that's the story of Offside, and it's a series of 5 books that sort of go into football and how there's lots of crime in football, and how this young boy and girl, 14 and 15 years old, try to solve some of those crimes and make football a bit more fan friendly. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you like the sound of that book, and cheers.